There were tears streaming down Mexico faces by the end of Sunday's game after they spent 90 minutes tearing Germany apart. Mexico's 1-0 victory will probably go down as the shock of the opening round of matches, but just as surprising was Germany's utter collapse in defensive positions. Joachim Low's side have never been known for frailty. How exactly did they perform so badly in Moscow, losing an opening game for the first time since 1982? Sportsmail has taken a look at their defensive woes. A lack of cover for the defendersGermany's great strength over the last few tournaments has been their structure in defensive positions. They were the kings of the 4-2-3-1, giving themselves a shield to allow their forwards to be rampant. It turns out that shield was not made of vibranium. It simply did not exist against Mexico on Sunday afternoon. The two deep-lying midfielders, Toni Kroos and Sami Khedira, were nowhere to be seen when Mexico went on a counter-attack. And given the positions of the two Germany fullbacks, more on that one later, that left just Hummels and Jerome Boateng manning the fort and trying to prevent the underdogs from cutting them to shreds. It was a colossal issue. The following images demonstrate the issue at large. Mexico win the ball back deep in their half. They have one thought and one thought only, to go long and pick out their forwards.Hummels has advanced up the field to try to win the ball back. That means only Boateng is there, and Mexico somehow have two players up against him. Only a poor pass from Javier Hernandez to Carlos Vela stopped Mexico from bagging a second and completely ending the match. It was a shambolic display from those ahead of the defense, who did not provide an iota of support. When they needed to be there to deal with the transition, they were not. It explained why Khedira was hauled off. No one in the midfield will look back on their display positively. Hummels' questionable decision-making. Hummels came out after the game and essentially blamed the rest of the team for the defensive horror show. Mexico deserved the win. Our cover was often not good, and we were left many times with just Jerome, Boateng and myself at the back, Hummels said. We were warned days ago in the warm-up games. We played exactly like we did against Saudi Arabia when Germany won 2-1, only against a better opponent. That's why the first half was like it was, and Mexico obviously deserved to win it. It is a valid point, as demonstrated above. But the Bayern Munich man was not exactly blameless for Germany's defeat. His decision-making had a huge role to play in Mexico's goal. Hummels was marking Javier Hernandez on the halfway line. He manages to get completely drawn in and commits himself to a challenge. It did not work out. So, when Mexico are streaming up the field, Hummels is on his backside. That puts Boateng one-on-one with Hernandez, and when goalscorer Hirving Lozano joined him, it put Boateng in an impossible position. Hummels, at times, was symbolic of Germany's implosion. He reacted too heavily when it was not necessary. Not that Jerome Boateng was blameless. This is only a small one, but it seems as though both Germany's central defenders had a touch of World Cup worries about them. Another swift Mexico counter-attack again saw a Germany defender overly commit on halfway and reduce the numbers in reserve. In the 27th minute, though, it was Boateng, not Hummels, who made the error. It could have been more costly if Mexico had been more clinical. Joshua Kimmich's attack-minded approach. No player in Europe provided more assists than Joshua Kimmich's 9 during qualification for the World Cup. The Bayern Munich youngster was feted pre-match as the worthy successor to Philipp Lahm, easily one of the best right-backs of his generation. There is a difference, frankly, between a right-back's role against Azerbaijan or San Marino and against Mexico. Kimmich, it seems, is still learning that lesson. Time and time again on Sunday, 23-year-old Kimmich was caught up the field as Mexico countered at pace. It left huge gaps on the Germany right, with no one covering for Kimmich. His absence had a role to play in the goal, as the above image shows. Lozano was given the freedom to run because there was no one tracking him. There were other errors along the way, but Kimmich's inability to adapt to a game that required more defensive nous was a crucial part in Germany's loss. At times, Kimmich was so advanced that he was essentially playing in the line behind the striker. His average position shows this. To have a right-back operating at nearly the same line as Mesut Ozil is a serious liability against anyone but the weakest teams on the planet. That needs to change before Germany's next game. Being shocked by Mexico's style of play, this has only emerged post-match, but Mexico essentially did exactly the opposite of what was expected of them by Low. The Germany manager briefed his players that Mexico would press them high up the pitch and try to win through a possession-based game. They did neither of those things. Instead, Mexico won the ball back when Germany were already deep into their half. And they looked to launch swift counterattacks. Germany was shocked. It probably explains why they thought they would have more time to return to defensive positions. Failure in preparation often leads to a team preparing to fail. Wrong preparation can be even more damaging. Low needs to get it right next time out.